Hello again, Cosmic, Frank Cottrell Boyce. We'll see how they get on with Taikonaut training. Next chapter, gravity is not a trivial monster. In the middle of Infinity Park is this dome, the Infinity Dome. The outside are all mirrors so that when you walk towards it, you see yourself walking towards you. The entrance is just a narrow door with the mirrors looking inwards. As you get closer, you just melt into your own reflection, like entering a portal to another dimension or something. Inside is completely cosmic. The dome is where all the best rides are. These are not rides like you've seen before. The names are all to do with history of space exploration, like Giant Leap or Leap of Fear, Sea of Storms. The biggest one, the Vortex, looks like a kitchen blender from the Land of Giants. When we arrived that morning, it was whirling around so fast on its spindle, it looked like it might come off and take off. There was an old man named Mr. Bean in charge of it. I mean, he looked old, but he also looked young. His eyes were bright and shiny and he walked like he was weightless. He gave us this big hello when we arrived, pressed some buttons and the vortex slowed down. You'll never guess what's in here, Dr. Drax smiled. No one had any idea what could possibly be inside a 20-foot blender. Dr. Drax nodded at Mr. Bean. He winked at us, then pressed some more buttons. The door opened, a ramp appeared, and down the ramp came Shenzhen. Everybody gasped. You were in there, said Florida. How could you be in there? He spun me round like that. I turned to soup. Shenzhen bowed and then stood out to show she wasn't soup. The vortex, said Dr. Drax, is really just a big washing machine. When you're ready, we're going to pop you inside, spin you round until you feel like old knickers. How does that sound? Uncomfortable, said Florida. It certainly will be, at first, but look, soon you'll be able to cope with it, just like Shenzhen. She's not even dizzy. Shenzhen bowed again to show that she was not only souped, that she wasn't even dizzy. Yesterday was great fun finding out what you'd like to experience less gravity than usual. Today you're going to taste of what to experience a lot more gravity as usual. That's what happens when we spin you in a centrifuge. Excited? Somehow, being whirled in a massive washing machine didn't seem appealing as floating around inside a big aeroplane. Florida was still trying to get a mind round the whole gravity thing. If less gravity makes you float in the air, won't extra gravity make us sink into the ground? Samson 2 giggled, Max tittered, and Samson 1 rolled his eyes. Monsieur Martinet snorted. A few days ago I might have laughed too, but now I felt different. I said, no, Florida, you won't sink on the floor, but you'll feel heavy. You're going to experience 15G, said Dr. Drax. That's 15 times your normal gravity. That's more than 3 times as much gravity as you get on the Cosmic. I tried to imagine a version of the Cosmic that was 3 times bigger than the one in Enchantment Land. The man who run the Cosmic said lots of people had passed out at 5G. We were going to hit 3 times that. This really was going to be a scary ride. Mr. Bean opened the steel doors wide. Inside was a big metal arm with a little seat on each end. If Orgramma Doomhammer, Orc of Lord of Durator, had made a seesaw, that's what it'd look like. So, said Dr. Drax, you'll weigh 15 times more than you usually do. Florida put her hand up and said, are you saying we're going to put on weight? They all giggled again. Florida didn't react. She knew that they were going to laugh at her, and she still asked the question, because she wanted to know. I said, you will put weight on, but you'll lose it again the moment you return to normal gravity. And then I said, okay, princess. She beamed at me. Okay, daddy. Dr. Drax went on. I know 15G sounds like absolutely heaps of gravity, but the body can take more than that. David Purley, the racing driver, once experienced 180G and lived to tell the tale. If he can do it, so can you. Samson 1 said, that seems like a lot of gravity in a car. How did he do that? He drove straight at a brick wall with his throttle wide open. He was doing 107 miles an hour. Now then, who's first? Are you sure he survived? Yes, he did. Or did he? I'm not sure. Anyway, rockets are much safer than cars. Samson 2 said, are you sure rockets are safer than cars? Of course they are, said Florida. They don't have brick walls in space, do they? Monsieur Martinet wanted Max to go first because that's what winning's all about. But Max wouldn't budge. And then his dad tried to shove him in. He just kept shouting, "No, I don't want to go in." Monsieur Martinet was hissing at him, "You're embarrassing me." Eddie Xanadu tried to bribe Hassan to get in. Hassan wasn't moving either. His dad was snarling, "You're making me look like a fool." Samson 1 tried to explain to Samson 2 that gravity was just a natural force and nothing to be afraid of, but that weren't working either. Even though his dad was growling, "Think of your reputation." I said to Florida, "We should go first, show them what a good team we are." "I'm not going in there." "Do you ever go on the Cosmic?" "No, I was too short, remember." "Pepsi Max?" "Queue were too long." "Traumatizer?" "Too scary." "Well, I've been on those big rides. And this thing here, it's just like a big ride. Do you want to know what the worst bit of a big ride is?" "What?" "The queue, the waiting, the anticipation, watching everyone else screaming and turning green. That's way and way the worst thing. It's got tons better to go first. And if we go first, all these other people that were laughing at you before, they'll have to stand here watching, getting more and more scared." She liked the sound of that. We strolled past Monsieur Martinet while he was poking Max in the chest, and Eddie Xanadu was waving a big wad of cash at Hassan, and Samson 1 who was drawing a diagram to prove to Samson 2 that gravity weren't scary. We walked past all of them right up to the machine. "Florida Digby," Dr. Drax smiled. "You certainly seem to have the right stuff to be a taikonaut." Mr. Veen came into the vortex with us and showed us how to strap ourselves in the seats, one at each end of the evil seesaw. My seat was obviously too small and I had to tuck my legs right up into the harness. Now that we're in there, I could see that Florida was getting a bit nervous. I said, "Mr. Bean, anyone died on this?" "On this whole thing? No, sir, not one." And he taped some wire things to the end of our fingers. "Oh, but please don't say there's always a first time." "Well now, I'm going to make sure that you're not the first. I'm going to monitor all your heartbeats and whatnot. You'll start a malfunction, I'll stop the whole thing." For a while nothing happened. It was just really, really quiet. Florida said, "I'm really, really scared now." But just think, if we're really, really scared, they must be really, really, really scared. And in a few minutes, you won't be scared at all. You'll be alright, princess. "Actually, you can stop calling me princess now. It seems a bit weird when you say it. Thanks all the same." Then there was a deafening thunk. We both screamed. Our chairs jumped sideways and stopped dead. Phew, I thought, it's broke. But then it started. If you've ever been on the Cosmic, you'll know what 4G is. You feel a bit sick and scared. But if you spread your arms out to pretend you're flying, you feel better. As you blast the air into the air, you can think, this is bad, but it's as bad as it gets. It's going to get easier any second. But the Vortex was different. On the Vortex, 4G was just the beginning. A voice came over the loudspeaker telling us that we were now at 5G. You can't spread your arms out at 5G. You can't move them at all. It feels like the air has turned to concrete and you're stuck in it. It's hard to breathe, but you'd think, we must be near the end now. We must slow down now. But we didn't slow down. We went faster. The voice said now we're at 8G. Now my eyeballs felt like little shriveled raisins. I couldn't see anything except for a muddy blur. But still we didn't stop. We went faster. At 12G you feel flat, two-dimensional, like itchy and scratchy run over by a steamroller. I thought I was dead. I even started to enjoy being dead when I heard the voice saying we were now at 15G. The sentence didn't come out like an ordinary sentence. It seemed to stay in my ears, steady like the noise of a humming top. But then my chest exploded, but the air was so thick all the bits of me couldn't fly away. They just stayed there in the same shape but not connected anymore. Then we slowed down. And that was just like Itchy and Scratchy too. When the steamroller's gone and someone comes along with a foot pump and pumps them back up to the normal shape. Amazing. For a minute I didn't say anything because I thought if I opened my mouth I might deflate again. I looked over to Florida and she said something like, oh, and I said, cock-a-doodle-doo, which is not really what I normally say. The door opened. I was so proud of as I tried to stroll out and swagger past the others. Unfortunately, I seemed to have lost my swagger control skills and ended up swaggering sideways. Sit down, Florida. Sit down, Mr. Digby. Take a rest. You've done very well. I think she probably meant us to sit on something. But as soon as she said it, I just let my legs go, and so did Florida. We sort of plonked ourselves on the floor. Monsieur Martinet was still hissing at Max. Ezzy Xanadu was pleading with Dr. Drax to let Hassan be excused. Dear little Hassan, he really doesn't want to do this. I'm afraid dear little Hassan will have to do it unless he doesn't want to go into space. I thought some people have got no control over their children. And everyone went quiet and looked at me. Apparently I thought this out very loud. Very loud. So, now Monsieur Martinet, you think you can do better? I think I already did. I shrugged and pointed at Florida and gave him a bit of a cheeky wave. I should have left it at that. But now that he said it, I did think I could do better. Samson too was now squealing, I'm not going, I'm not going, I'm not going, I'm not going. And to think they'd laughed at Florida. It served his dad right if he could get his son to go in where he couldn't. I decided to engage. Hey Samson too, what's the biggest ride you've ever been on? He looked blank. You've been on the inverted roller coaster? No. An ordinary roller coaster? No. Inverted bungee? No. I was on a seesaw once. A seesaw? Not a real seesaw. It was a large model for using demonstration of vectors around a fulcrum. But my father wasn't looking. I sat on it. Sorry, Father. So there was no one on the other end of this seesaw? No, but I solved that problem by propelling myself upwards with my legs repeatedly, in effect making myself into a vector. And that's the only ride you've ever been on. A one-ended seesaw. It was fun. No wonder he was scared. Imagine going on something like the Vortex, you'd never been on a proper seesaw. I tried to explain to him about rides, and about in a few months' time, the dome will be full of people paying money, queuing up, desperately wanting to go on the Vortex for fun. But why won't they be scared? They will be scared, they'll be terrified, but they'll want to be terrified. It's a nice feeling, a tingly feeling, and they'll be with their friends, and the friends will be all teasing them and daring them. You know, we're very lucky to beat the queues. He looked over at the Vortex and said, OK, I'll go. I grinned at Samson 1, thinking, that'll teach you to laugh at us. And then Samson 2 said, as long as you'll come with me. What? You say it's fun. You must want to do it again. Well, I wouldn't. It would be fair on your dad if I took his turn. I don't mind, said Samson 1, a bit too quickly. Well, maybe Dr. Drax won't agree. It's hard to fault the child's logic, Mr. Digby. Once you're rested, there's no reason why you shouldn't go in the Vortex again. It wasn't so bad the second time. The only trouble was I kept thinking to myself, this seat is tiny. I'm really uncomfortable. I can't move to the bit where time stands still. I can't move, so we came to the bit where time stands still. So that big depressing thought just stays there in the front of my brain for ages and ages, blotting everything out and making it seem worse. So if you ever have to endure a period of prolonged weightlessness, my tip is try and have an happy thought. When we finished, it took Samson 2 a moment to get his breath. Then he said, is it over? I said, yeah, what do you think? It was very informative. Informative? Yes, gravity's not like it looks like in diagrams. When we came out, even though I felt that I'd been in there for years, nothing had changed. Hassan was still telling his dad he wouldn't go in there, and Monsieur Martinet was still poking Max in the chest and calling him a loser. Max was taking no notice until he saw me. Then he said, I'll go in. Good boy, Max, said Monsieur Martinet, glancing at Mr. Xanadu. You see, good boy, he really meant better than your boy. As long as I go in with him, said Max, pointing at me. When I climbed into the Vortex for the third time, I concentrated on happy thoughts. All the great stuff I'd since been decided to be a grown-up. Walking in the Gobi Desert, driving a car, flying in a plane, when I should have been at Waterloo High Playground. Max leaned forward in his chair and said, I voted for you last time. You did? I wondered who voted for me, but I never thought it was him. I vote for you this time as well, because I want you to come with us. Not my father. I want you to come with us, because you are a loser. A what? A loser. I'm not a loser, I'm gifted and talented. When you were running down the sand dune, that made me laugh. And when we were rolling on the floor in the spacesuit, remember? Well, I don't remember the details of that. When you do stupid things. They weren't stupid, will you do something stupid today, please? I'll give it my best shot. Thanks for that. Then thunk, we were off again. Only this time, when I got to the forever base, instead of thinking about flying and walking in the desert, the word loser was stuck right in the front of my brain and stayed there. When we came out, Hassan saying he wasn't going again, Dr. Drax said, if the child needs more time to prepare himself, maybe it would be a good opportunity for the other dads to take their turn. Sanson 1 and Monsieur Martinet can ride together, then Mr. Xanadu could go on with Hassan. They looked a bit unsure, but what could they say? They took the turn, and this time I got to watch from the outside. To start with, the washing machine chugged round like something like the speed of light woolens. And then it got into gear something like colour fast cottons, and after that worryingly fast like a spin dryer. And then he suddenly started to slow down again. And I went, what's happened? Has something gone wrong? No, said Dr. Rex, that's the complete cycle. They've been in there just as long as you were. But I was in lows longer than that. They were just in the same time for you. 6 minutes, 1 minute at 15G. 1 minute! Why? Said Dr. Drax, examining her fingernails. Did it feel longer than that? Felt like the old chapter of my life, say about as long as I've been at primary school. When the dad got out of the vortex, Florida was excited by the possibility they might be sick, but they weren't. Cheers.